This episode will change the way you refer forever. Every referral you make is either multiplying your reputation or multiplying your risk. 84% of people trust referrals more than advertising, but negative experiences are shared 2 to 3 times more often than positive ones. So every time you make a referral, you are leveraging your credibility. Today, we're talking about something that almost no entrepreneur has mastered, and that is how to choose who to refer a client to when you have multiple friends in that profession without damaging your reputation or your relationships. It's going to be a juicy one. Lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the Miss in biz.
Let's get biz done. This episode idea came from one of our listeners who sent me a message and said, how do I decide who to refer to when I have multiple friends or connections in the same field? And my first reaction was, I have no idea. I struggle with that too. I don't even know how I can give this person any advice. But it prompted me to do some research, to think about my own practices, and come up with an episode that hopefully can help give some direction. But in all honesty, this is hard for everyone, especially the bigger you grow in your network, the more people you're going to meet in the same profession, and choosing between them can be really hard, especially when you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Because if we're being honest, when we run in strong business communities, you often have 5 realtors, 3 roofers, 4 financial advisors, 5 attorneys. They're all great people. They're all great, all your friends. And so who do you refer your client to? So the uncomfortable truth is that a referral is not a favor to your friend. It's a transfer of trust capital. According to Nielsen's Global Trust and Advertising Report, referrals are the most trusted form of marketing worldwide. When someone takes your recommendation, they're not trusting the vendor, they are trusting you.
That is 100% true. And that's why you have to be so selective and so careful, because if they fail to show up, if they don't do the job right, then ultimately they could come back and say, well, you recommended them to me and they did X, Y, and Z. So really is a big deal to make a referral. And a lot of times I feel like that gets watered down, especially if you're heavily involved in networking and you pass a lot of referrals, but just kind of taking a step back and realizing how serious that is really important.
So a business owner referred a client to a close friend, someone she loved personally, but the client had a bad experience. Nothing catastrophic, just slow communication and missed follow-ups. The client didn't complain about the vendor, but she lost confidence in the person who referred her. That referral cost her 2 future deals. Why? Because trust erodes quietly. If it's a horrible experience, maybe they'll come back and say, hey, this person was horrible. But if it was just substandard, they may not come back and let you know that they didn't do a good job, but what will happen is they're not going to ask you the next time they need a referral. So Proverbs 22 verse 1 says, a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. So your name is your asset.
Mm-hmm. And that reputation is so important because once it's diminished, it is so hard to try to repair that bad name, especially depending on the complexity or the severity of it.
So here's a 5-level referral filter that you can use when trying to decide who to refer to.
I like this. We got a system.
And we will have this available. If you want to have a written format of the 5-level referral filter, send us a message at on social media or through email at missbizpod@gmail.com or on our website through the contact form, and we'll send you this referral filter. Okay, so instead of asking who do I like best, ask this. Number 1 is, do they have the bandwidth right now?
Very important question.
So referring someone who is overwhelmed already is just setting that relationship up for failure. And sometimes high performers will underdeliver because they're stretched too thin. So that's the first thing, is to assess their capacity. Does this here's all the people I know who do this. Do they all have the bandwidth to accept a referral right now?
Yeah, the next is the pattern filter. So what is their complaint pattern? Are they good, but where do they struggle consistently? Do they struggle in speed, follow-up, documentation, responsiveness, or results? That right there will tell you who not to refer.
Right. Or who not to refer maybe for this particular client. So you're right now you're just assessing them. You're looking at all the options and putting them through this test. Do they have capacity? What complaints have I heard about these different people? Number 3 is client compatibility filter. Does this specific client match their style? So some professionals are bulldogs, some are handholders, so you need to match the temperament. As a woman attorney, I find that I relate well to women, and so I'm in a profession that has a lot of men in it, and so I find that when someone has a client who is a woman who likes to work with women or has a challenging personality that they know that I will walk through with this person, then sometimes I think that I get those type of referrals because they know that I'm a good match for that personality style.
Right. The other test is the pressure test filter. So how do they perform under stress? Have you observed them in a crisis? Excellence in calm does not always equal excellence in chaos.
Yes. And then 5th is the reputation multiplier filter. So before you refer someone, ask, if this goes really well, who gets the credit? But if this goes sideways, who absorbs the damage? So most of the time, it's me. So the times where it wouldn't be me is when someone comes and says, hey, I have a friend of a friend of a friend who's asking for this. Mm-hmm. And then I can say, okay, well, here's who I know. And that's probably not going to come back to my credibility because it's a friend of a friend of a friend. But if it's someone who knows me and trusts me directly and they come to me and say, hey, I need someone in this field, who do you recommend? Then that's definitely going to reflect bad on me if it doesn't go well. The other filter that I use is to look at the nuances in how they perform their services. So for example, I'm a personal injury attorney, and so my clients, I often refer them to chiropractors, and there's a lot of different chiropractors in each town to choose from. And so I've learned what different types of different ways that they perform their services so that I can help vet that for the client. So for example, one chiropractor does the manual adjustments where you have a physical cracking of your neck or back. The other chiropractor doesn't do that. He uses a machine, a handheld activator machine. So I ask people, do you prefer the manual cracking? Do you like that? Or does that scare you? Mm-hmm. And people usually have a preference. And so that helps me to narrow down who is the best fit. So that's just an example, but whatever it is, there's going to be differentiators between those professionals that you can then ask the person you're referring which type do they prefer.
Yeah.
We are looking for young people.
That's creepy.
Not like that. We're looking for young, inspiring entrepreneurs or professionals.
They must be located in the Orlando area because we want to give them the chance to be on Miss Biz.
We are looking for 3 inspiring young professionals under the age of 30 that we can interview on the Miss Biz podcast.
So don't hide your kids or your wife. Nominate them today. Comment the word young professionals and we'll send you the nomination form. Let's get biz done.
I mean, there's even like, I know we touched on it briefly, but personalities. What personalities are going to mesh the best? Are they going to get along? Are they going to clash? And then you want to make sure that you weigh out everything. So not all referrals carry equal risk. Hairstylist, they're a low risk. CPAs handling a $5 million transaction, that's a high risk. Custody attorney, that could be life altering. So the higher the emotional or the financial stakes, the stricter your filter should be.
I might argue that hairstylist though could be
I agree.
Could be a little bit higher risk because, can't mess up my hair.
Yeah, but the hair can grow back.
True.
Even if it's fried
Yes,
off.
it definitely doesn't compare with the $5 million transaction.
Yeah. $5 million, we can get you hair transplants. If it goes sideways. So there's a referral insurance strategy. So a lot of times people don't realize this, or there's a strategy that a lot of people don't realize exists or that they don't use. Stop sending a name and start sending context. So instead of call John, he's great, say I'm connecting you with John. He's strong on strategy and decisive action. He's direct and efficient. If you want warmth and long consultation calls, that's not his style, but he will get results. So you pre-frame the expectations. I wish everybody did that. So expectation alignment, it reduces dissatisfaction by up to 40% in service-based industries, and that's according to Harvard Business Review data on expectation management. So you don't just refer, you manage perception, and that protects everyone.
Yeah, I mean, if you're telling them up front, here's who I'm referring to because they do a great job, but just so you know, here's their weaknesses, that will go a long way, because when that weakness shows itself, they're not going to blame you because you gave them a heads up.
Right.
And I'll say I don't do medical malpractice cases, but I get asked about medical malpractice referrals pretty regularly because it's similar to personal injury, or it's under the umbrella of personal injury. And I ask people, do you want the boutique law firm who is going to keep you updated really well, and you're always going to know what's happening, you're always going to be able to reach your lawyer, but they're not going to have the big name and deep pockets of a big firm? Or do you want the big firm name who probably isn't going to give you an update, but once every several months? You're not going to get to talk to the lawyer very often at all.
If ever.
You might be dealing with, multiple layers of paralegals, but they've got the deep pockets and the big name, and the results will probably be really good at the end. Which do you prefer? And so, I'm setting them up to know that their strengths and weaknesses of both options, but which one do you prefer, pick your poison kind of thing. So I'm managing expectations there because it's hard sometimes to know who the right fit is. And so by asking questions like that, you can try to make a better referral and also set them up for success because they know that there may be some weaknesses as well.
Also, you're giving them the knowledge so they can make the decision themselves. And I think that is powerful because then it kind of takes you out of the equation. You gave them the options and then they made the decision whether they wanted to do additional research or go based upon the information that was provided to them. So I like that method a lot, actually.
Thanks. So when you have multiple friends who are also amazing in the same profession, here are some strategies. So the first is the rotational integrity method, but tell your friends up front, listen, I don't refer just based on friendship, I refer based on fit. So sometimes that means you, but sometimes it might mean someone else. So being transparent with your friend can help prevent that resentment.
Yeah.
How would you feel if your friend said that to you?
I actually have had people say that to me. I had one person say that to me actually recently. And I was like, that makes sense to me because if somebody is looking to work with a man, obviously, like, I'm not a man, so, I'll never be a man. So that's, I mean, I think that is something that's okay to say to somebody. I didn't take it bad at all.
Yeah, I don't either. I tell people I prefer if they have like for people who refer to lawyers regularly, I say it's better for everybody if they have a list of attorneys that they refer and they give the clients the options to research those attorneys and decide from them who they want to use. So I don't take offense at all if they decide that someone else is a better fit for a certain person.
Yeah. There's also the dual option strategy. So this is where you offer, kind of like what you said, you offer multiple professionals and then you can explain the difference. There's data-driven referrals. So you track referral outcomes, which very few entrepreneurs track: conversion rates, client satisfaction, follow-up speed, thank you loop completion, but you should. So if one vendor consistently converts at 80% with higher satisfaction and another converts at 30% with reoccurring friction, which one are you going to refer?
Right. So, especially if it's a profession that you refer to all the time, you definitely want to keep track of what feedback you get. If a client says to me, I didn't like this chiropractor's office because of X, Y, and Z, if it's a legitimate complaint, I'm going to consider that the next time I'm making a referral.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
Just kind of archive it, store it in your brain Rolodex, and, consider that.
Here's a question. If you referred it to a friend and then you got some negative feedback from that client, would you go tell your friend about the feedback?
I have done it because I feel like it's important for them to know, especially if it's something to do with their team. But even if it's something to do with them personally, maybe they don't realize that they were speaking in a certain tone, or maybe they didn't realize that there was this gap of information that was being missed or not conveyed properly. So I feel like it's important for them to know. It's not necessarily what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah. Do you love the Miss Biz podcast?
Because we love you.
Here's 3 things you can do to show your support.
1, write us a review. Apple, Spotify, and Google My Business are the best platforms to write a review.
2, follow us on social media. Our handle is @MissBizPodcast.
3, join our Facebook group, Miss Biz Nation, for exclusive content and behind-the-scenes footage. Also, ask questions related to your business and discuss topics from our episodes.
True.
What about you?
Yeah, I would let them know. I would want to know as well if a client was dissatisfied, because I would want to be given the opportunity to tell my side of the story too.
Yes.
Because sometimes maybe that person is complaining, but it's not warranted, or there's a reason why things went that direction. So I would like to be given the opportunity to tell the person, hey, thank you for telling me that complaint, but also there's more to the story.
Yes. No, I agree. A lot of times there's unrealistic expectations as well. So it's good for the person who referred it to know that, hey, that wasn't even an option, because that doesn't exist.
Right.
So it's hard. It really is hard to kind of navigate this, especially when friendships are involved. So here's how to avoid damaging friendships when you refer someone else. So first, we're going to address the emotional tension, because the hardest part isn't the filter, it's the friendship. You're in B&I together, you go to church together, your kids play sports together, and now you're referring somebody else. But here's the key: clarity protects friendships, whereas silence destroys them.
So when I was selling my house, I had multiple people who were friends who were realtors. Everybody does. And I had a really hard time deciding who to hire. And I ended up choosing the person who was the closest friend. She didn't have the most experience. She really was newer in the real estate world, but she was the closest friend, and so I felt like that's who I wanted to hire. So that's who I hired. And I went to a couple other friends who I knew might be offended when they found out, and I told them in advance, hey, just so you know, I'm selling my house, and I decided to go with this friend, and here's why. But I got ripped a new one by a realtor in my neighborhood because I had started a networking group within the neighborhood, and the person I hired did not live in the neighborhood. She used to live in the neighborhood, but she had moved out of the neighborhood. And so she wrote me this message that said, I can't believe that you started a networking group for the neighborhood and then you hired a realtor who doesn't live in the neighborhood, and like calling me, hypocrite and all these things. And so I said to her, well, it was a really hard decision. I mean, it was a really hard decision, and I knew that no matter what I did, some people were going to be upset by it. But I said, part of the reason I didn't choose someone in the neighborhood is because there was many people in the neighborhood, and then how do I choose between those?
Right.
And so I figured if I just go outside the neighborhood to someone who just is a closer friend, that was the best decision. But I mean, my point of the story is that sometimes people are just going to be upset and there's nothing you can do.
Right.
But then there was other people I went to, and I said, look, especially after that lady had a fit, I went to some others, and I was like, look, just so you know, you're going to see my house on the listings, and this is who I used, and here's why, and whatever. And most of them were like, everybody has a realtor friend. I'm not offended at all. You do you, whatever, most of them were fine. But this one particular lady was really upset that I didn't use someone within the neighborhood. And I was just like, sorry, what can I do?
Do you feel like she would have been just as upset if you chose somebody else from the neighborhood and it still wasn't her?
Well, she says she wouldn't, but that was my thing, was like, how do I choose among these people who are all neighbors, are all qualified, none of them are close friends? How do I choose between those three? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to start a bidding war. I didn't want to start interviewing everybody and having them like fight for the business. Like I didn't know how to choose between the ones in the neighborhood. So then I felt like it was going to be you're picking favorites. And she said, no, if you would have picked someone in the neighborhood, I would have been happy.
I don't know if I believe that.
I don't
feel like
either.
there would have been like full on turf wars.
I think she would have been like wanting an explanation of why I didn't choose her. So, and mind you, I think she came to like maybe one of the meetings, like one or two of the meetings, but she had an opinion on who I chose as realtor. So, sometimes there's just nothing you can do, but I definitely learned from that to try to let people know up front. I had to make a hard decision. This is what I chose. I hope that you can understand and not be hurt by it.
Yeah. So always, like Brooke did, set the standard before the situation. Make sure that you let them know that you refer based on fit, timing, capacity. Sometimes that means you, sometimes that means someone else. I want you to know that I value our relationship and our friendship regardless. And that conversation will prevent future insecurity, because transparency builds that security. And James 5:16 reminds us to live in the light, not in its assumption.
So friendship should be separate from professional fit. Friendship is relational, but referrals are strategic. So you can deeply love someone and recognize that they're not the best fit for every client. It's not betrayal. It really isn't. It's just, it's stewardship, and it's trying to help both parties to have a positive outcome.
Yeah, and if you do refer somebody and have a negative experience, like we had mentioned earlier, make sure if you stop referring someone, you have that conversation with them, because you don't want to just ghost them. You want to be able to tell them, like, hey, I've had some feedback around response time. I care about you and wanted to share that so we both can grow. And that's going to help them realize and also open their eyes to maybe something that they themselves as a business owner would need to be aware of.
So also you can say, I believe in having a referral ecosystem. No one person serves every client best. So this removes the scarcity mindset. You're not choosing favorites, you're matching expertise. And healthy professionals will respect that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times when people do get upset that you've referred somebody else instead of them, it does boil down to, oh, well, they like that person more than me. Not realizing that business and friendship are completely separate. And there's a reason. Maybe the person who's asking for the referral is going to be a really complicated referral, and that person doesn't have the personality type to be able to withstand that.
Yeah.
Or maybe
there's sometimes where I'm like,
one.
please hire another attorney.
Yeah, refer that to someone else, please.
Yeah.
Not a good fit.
No harm done. So one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is over justifying. You don't owe emotional essays. A simple, this client needed a slightly different approach, so I connected them elsewhere, which is delivered calmly with no defensiveness, can be sometimes the best way to just let them know without getting into too deep of a conversation over it.
Yeah, and if a friendship is damaged because you referred to someone else with a good explanation, then you may need to reevaluate your friends. If your friend wasn't your top choice because they don't provide the quality of work that you can trust, then maybe you're better off with them as an acquaintance than a close friend. Because any true friend, if you said, hey, I referred this person to one of your competitors because their needs were more aligned with their goals and objectives, a true friend won't be upset because they trusted you enough to know that you wouldn't intentionally hurt them.
Right. So a woman once said, I still use the CPA you referred to me 10 years ago. That's the power of one wise referral. You don't even remember that you referred that person to the CPA, but they do. So they remember who referred them. And that, because this person was happy for 10 years and still using them, that was a positive, that positively affected your reputation and their trust for you.
Yeah. So this week, we want you to list your last 5 referrals, score them through the reputation multiplier filter, identify one relationship that needs clarity, and speak to that person to get clarity. It's easier said than done, but you got this. We appreciate you and are honored to be on this journey with you. We can't wait to help you, to encourage you, and show you how to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
If you found Miss Biz helpful, please leave a review and share with others.
You can follow us on social media at Miss Biz Podcast.
For legal questions or services, please visit boltslegal.com.
And for digital marketing needs, please visit boltsmedia.com. Let's get biz done.